culture, there's always a subculture, there's always an underlying... Hey, what's up, CLC family? I'm excited to get into our first episode of SpiCLC, where we're talking with Pastor Danny Tuxhorn. Pastor Danny has been at CLC since 2012. He now serves as our next-gen pastors over the link and over transfer. And I'm excited to get into these 5 questions and 5 wings. So, Pastor Danny, we're here, and how are you with spicy food?
So, I love spicy food, but here's the deal. My wife loves watching Hallmark movies. At the end of the Hallmark movie, she's crying. Yeah. And I'm wondering, why are you putting yourself through that? You get where I'm going with this? You kind of
have the same thing with chicken wings. Why do you put yourself through that pain?
Yeah, while I'm eating this, you're going to see my nose run. You're going to see me sweat. I'm probably going to get really red. My eyes are going to water, but it's so worth it.
Let's do it. All right, let's dive into this first wing right here. How was it?
Fantastic.
How did you get into ministry and how did you land at CLC?
I had a few interests. I thought about being a teacher, thought about being a coach, but I also love church. I love going to youth group. My youth pastor was my biggest influence. I would always bring friends to church. I actually would go to 2 youth groups. But then one day, I really felt like God was calling me to youth ministry. It wasn't an idea that I had for myself. It needed to be from God. And it took all of my passions and all of my interests. And when I felt like God laid youth ministry on my heart, it was just like, why didn't I think of that? Because it had to be a God thing. So then I pursued going to school for ministry. And that's what brought me out to Siloam. I went to John Brown University. And my senior year, I needed to do an internship with a full-time youth pastor for a whole school year. And so I had a guy who said, I know a youth pastor. Here's his phone number. Call him and see if he needs any help. And so I cold called Pastor Dallas Wilson right here at CLC.
Classic Dallas.
And he didn't answer the phone. So I had to leave a voicemail. He doesn't know who I am, and I explained a little bit about who I was and what I was looking for. He invited me up to his office, and before I saw a youth service, before I was at a Sunday morning service, I agreed to intern at CLC, and that was 10 years ago this fall.
I love that. Well, let's keep going on wing number 2. It's the heartbeat hot sauce. Cheers.
Cheers.
So question number 2, if someone's going to Colorado, what's one thing that they have to do?
I'm from Colorado Springs. So if you're heading to Colorado Springs, you need to go to Garden of the Gods. Beautiful. There's places to hike, places to bike, places to just take great pictures. And it's not strenuous if you're not like really into hiking. It's really, really fantastic. And while you're there at Garden of the Gods, you've got a fantastic view of Pikes Peak, which I have climbed. So
it's made it to the peak of Pikes Peak.
Made it to the
Love
peak.
It. Well, let's keep going.
All right.
Number 3. I think this is when it starts to get a little.
I was about to start taunting the wings, but I don't feel like that's a good idea.
No, not yet. Not yet. We need to be humble. All right, so Danny, you're in a unique pastoral position at our church where you have our kids from 7th grade all the way to in college, out of college. Right. And right now I feel like Gen Z has such a bad rap and almost no hope for the future. But what are you seeing? You're in there every day, day in, day out. Do we have hope with these kids? I
think what's interesting about Gen Z is they really are in the young adult age group now. They're not just kids anymore. Gen Z is in our young adult ministry, and the next generation, Gen Alpha, is coming right behind them, entering into youth ministry right now. But the thing about Gen Z that I love is they don't play church. They want to be here for real. They want honest conversations. They want real life, practical. This is how my relationship with Jesus impacts my life and the world around me. They don't want to just show up to a service and sing songs and then go out and be different. They want to carry the truth of Jesus in everywhere that they are. Something that I love about Gen Z is diversity is not an option for them. If there's no diversity, they don't want to be a part of it. And that's why I love being at CLC is we have made diversity a priority. And I believe that Gen Z feels at home here because this is what the world should look like. And we believe this is what the kingdom is. The kingdom is every tribe, tongue, and nation worshiping Jesus. So I've got major hope for Gen Z.
I love it. I love to hear that. Let's keep going. Number 4.
I'm doing pretty well so far. How are you?
I feel good. I feel good.
Yeah.
But we didn't eat this one before we said that.
I know.
So. All right. So this fourth part, it's going to be explain that gram. So I've got 2 photos from your Instagram that I feel like they need more context. You know, you just put these out there. So I'll show them in a photo, but I'm going to show you. So what's going on here?
I lost a bet. My very favorite. I'm feeling this one. Are you feeling this one? I can feel it.
It got a little bit hotter. I may take a drink of water.
I've got a little tear in the corner of my eye. Speaking of a little tear in the corner of my eye, I had a tear in the corner of my eye when I had to put on that Cowboys jersey. I'm a huge Philadelphia Eagles fan. I have been since 5th grade. I just picked them. They've been my team ever since. And Mr. Wendell Huggins and I had a friendly bet that if the Cowboys had beat the Eagles that Sunday, I would wear one of his Cowboys jerseys. And if the Eagles had beat the Cowboys, he would be wearing Eagles gear. And obviously from that photo, I lost.
All right, and I got one more that I just want a little more context where we don't really know what's happening totally. So.
Oh, yeah. So this was from one of our Christmas parties that we do with our volunteers with Transfer. And I believe, if I'm correct, that was the very first Mr. and Mrs. Transfer that we gave out. And those were voted on by their fellow leaders in the youth ministry as someone who exemplified what it meant to be a volunteer at Transfer. And so it was really special to be able to give those awards out. And I'm really proud of those 2. Marquise leading worship and Amberly still being here on staff. And they're both killing it. Kind of like my tongue is killing it right now.
You feeling it?
I feel it on my tongue, yeah. Ooh.
I think we made it to the end. We've had 4 solid takings, and this is the last dab. We don't really have a tradition yet, but I think tradition around here is we should
put
start
a tradition.
A last dab of the last dab on these wings,
yes.
And we'll see what happens. You don't have to do it if you don't want to, but I feel like you do, and I'll let you do that yourself. There we go. Oh my gosh. Be careful.
I think I made a mistake.
Here we go. It's pretty spicy.
Yeah, this was pretty spicy.
So in culture, there's always a subculture, there's always an underlying conversation or type of language, and we're no different than that. At the link and Transfer, there's a couple of sayings that I hear you guys say all the time.
Yeah.
One is, note takers are
history makers.
And when you leave the link, it's
we are a movement and we are moving from glory to glory.
Okay, so explain
Can't
those.
really think right now.
You're feeling it. So explain those and like what the communication language, how valuable it is to the Transfer and to the link community.
So we say note takers are history makers at Transfer and the link. We say it both because we believe that we don't want to just be hearers, but we actually want to put pen to paper because we believe that when you are writing notes, when you're taking notes physically, like with your hand, not just on your phone, but with your hand, you remember a lot more. And then you're able to go back to that notebook and you're able to pull out those lessons. And I just feel like I have so much saliva in my mouth right now.
You're doing great. You're crushing it. You're keeping your thoughts together and everything.
Yeah. But then we actually have a saying in Transfer as well. We say we're more than a youth group, we're a family. And so that communicates to those kids that they've got a place to belong. They've got people who believe in them and love them no matter what. And then at the link, it's a saying that helps us as we go out the door to remember that we exist beyond just being in these four walls. But we want to take what we've learned here and take it out and be a movement in our community. So.
Hey, we made it.
We made it. It's spicy. We made it.
Thank you so much, Pastor Danny, and for being here, taking the time, crushing this. We made it to the peak, 5 wings, 5 levels of spice. We did the last dab. We started a new tradition.
Yeah.
If there's anything else you want to tell the community about yourself, about what you're doing, that camera, let them know.
Hey, if you've got teenagers, please make sure they're here every Wednesday at 6:30 right here in the Student Center. We would be honored to get to love and serve them. And then, hey, if you're a young adult in this community, Thursday nights, 7:30, worship, word, community, come hang out. And this is a challenge to any other pastor that sits here in this seat. I did not take a drink of water. I did not take a drink of milk. I put a big old last dab on that chicken wing. Come on, somebody, bring it on.
There we go. Oh, we got to last dab it up. Oh my God.